Snub time, baby. I love talking snubs. Everyone loves talking snubs. It's the greatest thing because everybody loves what ifs in sports. Now, All-Star reserves have been announced. These 6 guys are not on there. Were they snubbed? Let's go through it. Brandon Ingram, who is part of the Toronto Raptors and a big reason as to why they are no longer jumping in the lottery or a bottom feeder team this year. The Toronto Raptors have changed their year around, and that's mainly due to this man over here and his colleague Scotty Barnes, who has become an all-star. Do the Raptors deserve 2 all-stars? Is a question which will qualify Ingram for being a snub, and the answer is no, they do not deserve 2 all-stars. And you could argue, some people may argue that he deserves to be an all-star over Scotty Barnes, but I think those people are people who probably prefer scoring over any aspect of the game of basketball. Now, Scotty Barnes, his impact is insane when it comes to actual game of basketball. Does he impact the game more than Brandon Ingram? I'd say so, because of the amount of things he can contribute to an NBA game in comparison to Brandon Ingram, who mainly has one job, and that is to score. And he is a fantastic scorer, hence why he's paid what he is paid. Was he snubbed? No. Next person. Dylan Brooks, who, in my opinion, is having a season that none of us thought he would have. Okay, no one knew he'd be able to do what he's doing this year. I'm not gonna lie, bro. And the fact that the Phoenix Suns are better with Dylan Brooks, Devin Booker, and people whose name I don't, and Grayson Allen, like that's their big three or whatever, over Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker is fucking insane. However, he's not an all-star. Okay, the Suns don't deserve to have 2 all-stars. Let's be real. And even though he's having a phenomenal season, he's not an all-star. Next, let's go next to him. James Harden. James Harden, not gonna lie, big dog, one of my favorite players in my lifetime, right? However, this season you are not an all-star, only because the real person who was snubbed on your team is your teammate Kawhi Leonard, who is a big reason as to why this season has shifted for you guys in such an enormous way. You guys were looking like, okay, you're gonna give your number 1 pick to OKC. Basketballs are forever finished. But Kawhi Leonard came, he saved the game, and now he's putting you guys in the playoff picture. Eventually, I think so. Anyway, in about a few games. Right now, you're in the play-in. No one even saw you go in there, so that's insane. But was James Harden snubbed? In my opinion, no. However, he has had some insane games this year. I just think that Kawhi Leonard's more deserving of a playoff push than you would be if he was to be picked. Hence why you're not snubbed. And obviously, let's just go straight to Kawhi right now. That means he has been snubbed, in my opinion, because what he's been doing so far this season is insane. And it just kind of makes you think how much we were robbed of seeing prime Kawhi, because he's unfortunately always been hurt. Next, Joel Embiid. Was Joel Embiid snubbed? Okay, he is playing insane. Would I rather see him become also over Jalen Duran? Of course. Has he put better numbers up while he's been healthy? Of course. However, the Pistons are the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference, so it's kind of hard. You know how the fucking shit goes, bro. If they're number 1 team in the conference, they get 2 players. That's why Jalen's an all-star. Was this guy snubbed? You could say off ability and his numbers recently, for sure. However, his availability and his current team record in comparison to the Pistons is why he is not snubbed. Because I can't think of an argument. Unless, let's run it back. Hold up. Unless you pick him over Cat. That's a conversation we can actually have. Moving on. Michael Porter Jr. He was 110% snubbed. And I'm going to tell you why. Even though he's on the worst team, or one of the worst teams in the NBA, is he snubbed 100%. And the only reason why he was snubbed is because Pascal Siakam, who is also on one of the worst teams in the fucking NBA, is an all-star. What does that mean? It should have been this guy, because he is putting up insane numbers. And it's so beautiful to watch. Sometimes I watch a Brooklyn game just to see this guy like lose and go off, because it's insane the stuff that he's able to do. And he only does one thing, but he does it so well. Like Brandon Ingram, on a high level where it's insane to watch. In my opinion, they're both on bad teams, Pascal and MPJ. MPJ is having a better year on a bad team. MPJ should have been an all-star over Pascal. You can pretty much tell my snubs are based on who has been picked, which makes my arguments a bit easier. And obviously, like I said, Kawhi Leonard has been snubbed. They had a terrorist get picked over Kawhi Leonard. Fucking insane. Okay, the guy's not literally a terrorist, but he agrees with terrorism. I don't fuck with that shit. But yeah, despite my views on that individual, this guy should have been an all-star over anyone that would have been picked in his position because he is having an insane year. Insane year. He's having a better year than LeBron James. He's not having a better year than Kevin Durant, but they're fucking neck and neck. Pause. Love. If you're still here after the 5-minute mark, follow in a bit.